कुर्वन् नेवेह कर्माणि जिजी विशेषतः शतं समः एवं त्वयि न अन्यथा इतो अस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे. Kurvan eva hi karmani. If someone works in this way, what is in this way means? Go back to the previous verse. With the consciousness of that which is explained in the previous verse, Ishavasya idam sarvan. Someone who has a clear concept about whom everything belongs to. In that way, if someone performs his karma, then Jiji Visheshatam Sama, if he lives for 100 years, that never bounds him with a karma. Na karma lipyate nare. Evam tvayi na anyatha. And if he does not follow this concept, which is explained in the previous verse, then he will get bound in the karma. If someone lives for hundreds of years, but he does not follow the previous concept, what is explained in the previous verse, that everything belongs to Krishna, and I have to enjoy only that much which is assigned for me. Otherwise, that living is useless. And Prabhupada explains further in the purport. He says that no one wants to die. Everyone wants to live as long as he can drag on. This tendency is visible not only individually but also collectively in the community, society, and nation. There is a hard struggle for a life by all kinds of living entities. And the Vedas say that this is quite natural. The living being is eternal by nature, but due to his bondage in the material existence, he has to change his body over and over. This process is called transmigration of the soul or Karmabandha, bondage by one's work. The living entity has to work for his livelihood because that is the law of material nature. And if he does not act according to his prescribed duties, he transgresses the law of nature and binds himself more and more to the cycle of birth and death in many species of life. So here Prabhupada explains what is the transmigration of the soul from one body to another, what is the cause behind that, and how one can get rid of that. The tendency that Ishwaroham Mahabhogi Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi, that is, I am the enjoyer of things that I survey, brings us in the cycle of this transmigration. So one who has a clear concept about who is the real enjoyer will not get transmigrated after leaving this body. Then further Prabhupada says that other life forms are also subject to cycle of birth and death. But when the living entity attains a human life, he gets a chance to get free from the chain of karma. Karma, akarma, vikarma are very clearly described in the Bhagavad Gita. Actions that are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures, are called karma. So definition of karma, vikarma, and akarma has given here. So you can note that down so you can have a clear idea about this. So karma is that which is mentioned and prescribed by the scripture, Action that free one from the cycle of birth and death are called akarma. And actions that are performed through the misuse of one's freedom and that direct one to the lower life forms are called vikarma. And most of the people, they are doing that only. So one has to be very careful, Then further, Prabhupada says that Of these three types of action, that which frees one from bondage of karma is preferred by the intelligent man. Ordinary men wish to perform good work in order to be recognized and achieve some higher status of life in this world or in heaven. But more advanced men want to be free altogether from the actions and reactions of men. Intelligent men well know that both good and bad work equally bind one to the material miseries. Consequently, they seek that work which will free them from reaction of both good and bad work. Such a liberating work is described here in the pages of Sri ISHOPNISHAD. So this one concept that everything belongs to Krishna, the Lord, that itself frees you from the cycle of transmigration, that will liberate you from this material world. See how important is this? One has to understand. The instruction of Sri ISHOPNISHAD are more elaborately explained in Bhagavad Gita, sometimes called the Gita Upanishad, the cream of all the Upanishads. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text number 9 to 16, the personality of a Godhead says that one cannot attain the state of nishkarma or naishkarmya or akarma without executing the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedic literature. This literature can regulate the working energy of a human being in such a way that he can gradually realize the authority of the Supreme Being. When he realizes the authority of a personality of a Godhead, Vasudeva or Krishna, it is to be understood that he has attained the stage of positive knowledge. In his purified stage, the modes of nature, namely the goodness, passion, and ignorance, cannot act, and he is able to work on the basis of Naishkarmya. Such a work does not bind one to the cycle of birth and death. Any question?
Prabhuji, there's karma means like karma kanda activities, right? Yeah, that means if you do it, you will get the gain. If you do good, you get good. If you do bad, you will get bad. That is karma kanda. But if akarma means that on top of that, you are not expecting any results out of that. The whatever the karma you do it, and you just doing it for the pleasure of Lord, then it will not be bind you.
Yes. Karma kanda means prescribed by the
Yes.
scriptures, you know.
Yes.
So bad things are not prescribed by the scripture.
I mean, if you not follow that, then you will get it. Yes.
Pious activities that
Yes.
generally people they do it for getting some more pious credits, you know, and who desire to go to Swarga. For them, this karma kanda has given. Or sometimes karma kanda elevates the consciousness of that soul who is performing those activities and purifies his consciousness and brings him to the level where he can accept the process of akarma. And that is explained in 9.26. Huh? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachyati. That is akarma.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Factually, no one has to do anything more than the render devotional service to the Lord. However, in the lower stages of life, one cannot immediately adopt the activities of devotional service, nor can one completely stop fruitive work. This is very important line. Huh? Lower stages of life, one cannot immediately adopt the activities of devotional service, nor can one completely stop fruitive work. Generally, when we come in contact with the practitioners who come to our temple as a congregation, you know, as a congregation member, we expect a lot from those. So here Prabhupada clearly says, In the lower stages of life, one cannot immediately adopt the activities of devotional service. So whoever is taking time to adopt Krishna consciousness, they have a lower stage of a life. So you can't expect, they might be coming for 10 years, 20 years, or maybe 30 years. But unless and until they elevate themselves, it's not possible to take the devotional activities or devotional service, you know.
So that means it's already predefined when you can take Prabhu a karma.
No, that is not predefined. That depends upon your desire. See, bhakti, it's not according to your karma. It facilitates you, but to take it or not, it depends
Yeah.
upon you. That's the freedom Lord has given. There, the Lord has given you freedom. As explained in the Ramayana, there is a nice verse where it is said that Sarvajna api devesho. Lord, even though He knows everything in and out of each and every living entity, but He never interferes in their personal things. Samsara tantra vahitvat. To continue this samsara chakra, He never interferes in your karma. But what He is waiting for, He says that Raksha apeksha michhate. If someone cries out to their lordship, "Oh my Lord, protect me," then He only interferes in their life. Otherwise, you have to suffer or enjoy whatever quota that you have. And we can see that most of the time, people who come to Krishna consciousness, they suffer a lot than the outside people. And people might think that, oh, after taking up this Krishna consciousness, my trouble has increased. Huh? Did you have the same experience? Huh? Sometimes it's really become painful to render devotional service. Huh? But that's my quota, you know. I have to suffer. If I would have been outside, I would have suffered a lot. So Lord has given me that, but in a small pack. My hand's supposed to get cut. Only I got some cut in my finger. And there is a choice for you then.
That getting that
consciousness or leave it at that point. And when you continue, then He takes care of you. He says, okay, tested. So now I can work upon him, you know.
But that to get into that convention, Prabhu, is not that easy.
Shurasya dhara durgam pataste. That's what has explained in Kathopanishad. It's not that any layman can take up a devotional service. Shurasya dhara. It's like a two-sided blade of sword, you know, and a very difficult path to walk. One side is a mountain and other side is a valley. If little bit of imbalance, you will just fall apart. So very courageous people, they take a devotional service. It's not meant for everyone, although it is meant for everyone, but not everyone takes it up because of their lower stage of consciousness. Makes sense? That's why wherever it is a material life or spiritual life, you don't compare yourself with others. Because we don't know what they have come along with, how many they have done in their previous life, you know. Sometimes I feel so much blessed with our own kids, you know, because these guys, they have started eating prasadam in their mother's womb. They started doing parikrama to their lordship whenever their mother is doing. Every day they are able to see their lordship from their childhood. Definitely they are more, what you can say, elevated than us, because since childhood they got that chance. Do we think like that anytime when we look at our kids? That's because of our lower stage of consciousness. We don't appreciate what they have. We try to expect more from them rather than appreciating what they are having. We need to make them understand this thing, you know. Then life becomes very easy. A conditioned soul is accustomed to working for a sense gratification, for his own selfish interest, immediate or extended. An ordinary man works for his own sense enjoyment, and when this principle of sense enjoyment is extended to include his society, nation, or humanity in general, it assumes various attractive names such as altruism, socialism, communism, nationalism, humanitarianism. These isms are certainly very attractive forms of a Karmabandhana. Sometimes people they think rather than serving God, we should serve the humanity. But serving the Lord, you will serve the humanity at large. Like Prabhupada did, you know. He came to this Western world, he offered food to their lordship here and offered it to the all junky monkeys here, and he made them devotees. And because of him, now after 50 years, we are able to have a nice prasadam here in this land where people are meat eaters. Before 60 years, they were not knowing that there is some vegetarian food also that they have to eat. If you go to southern Utah, you will find the people what they eat. They marinate everything, you know. They don't know that this thing can be cooked and ate. But it's Prabhupada's causeless mercy that all around the world you are getting nice South Indian food everywhere in the world, which can be digested easily and make your consciousness nourished with that prasadam. So all these isms, Prabhupada says, of nothing but different kind of a karma bandhanas. People might think that, oh, these Krishna conscious people are so concealed, you know. They never think about going out and feeding the homeless and other things. We feed the people in ignorance. Or actually, all we are homeless because nothing belongs to us. Everyone who has bought a house, it's on a loan only. Until and unless that loan is cleared, you are homeless only. So we don't have that deep understanding, you know. These small things, when you have a really understanding of this and you try to relate those things in your day-to-day dealings, then that will make you more Krishna conscious. The Krishna conscious means who is conscious of all these things. If you are not, then people they think, oh, why there are so much suffering? Why sufferings are there? Because I am conscious, not conscious of those things. That whatever my quota is there, I have to enjoy or suffer. If you are conscious of that, then it becomes very easy to live and render devotional service also. So whatever comes, then you take it positively, you know. Oh, anyhow, I supposed to have this thing in this period of time, so let it come. But I should not get disturbed. Keep me doing more service to the Lord, more intense service to the Lord. And that then helps to cope up with our Krishna consciousness, and that helps us to free us from the bondage. Does that make sense?
Yes, well.
The Vedic instructions of Sri ISHOPNISHAD is that if one actually wants to live for any of the above isms, he should make them God-centered. There is no harm in becoming family man or an altruist or socialist or communist, a nationalist or a humanitarian, provided that one executes his activities in relation with Ishavasya, the God-centered conception. See, if everything is God-centered, then Where is the question of competition then? Then further, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 40, Lord Krishna states that God-centered activities are so valuable that just a few of them can save a person from the greatest danger. नेहाविक्रमणाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायन विद्यते स्वल्पम अपयस्य धर्मस्य त्रायतो महतो भयात्. The greatest danger of a life is the danger of gliding down again into the evolutionary cycle of birth and death among the 8.4 million species of life. If somehow or other a man misses the spiritual opportunity afforded by the human form of life and falls down again into the evolutionary cycle, he must be considered most unfortunate. Due to this defective senses, a foolish man cannot see that this is happening. Consequently, Sri ISHOPNISHAD advises us to exert our energy in the spirit of Ishavasya. Being so engaged, we may wish to live for many, many years. Otherwise, a long life is itself has no value. A tree lives for hundreds and hundreds of years, but there is no point in living a long life like a tree, or a breathing like a bellows, or a begetting children like a hogs and dogs, or eating like camels. A humble, God-centered life is more valuable than a colossal hoax of a life dedicated to godless altruism or socialism. So again, Prabhupada is making clear the concept of Ishavasya. If you have that concept, a God-centered life, then it has a meaningful life. Otherwise, everything is vyartha. When altruist activities are executed in the spirit of Sri ISHOPNISHAD, they become a form of a karma yoga. Such activities are recommended in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, which has explained from text 5 to 9. For they guarantee their executor protection from the danger of sliding down into the evolutionary process of birth and death. Even though such a God-centered activities may be half finished, they are still good for the executor because they will guarantee him a human form in his next life. In this way, one can have another chance to improve his position on the path of liberation. How one can execute God-centered activities is elaborated explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. We have rendered this book into the English as the Nectar of Devotion. We recommend this valuable book to all of who are interested in performing their activities in the spirit of Sri ISHOPNISHAD. See how clearly Prabhupada has conveyed this point. If you really want to live long, has a desire to live long, then live a meaningful life. And that meaningful life means living a life which is God-centered. If your life is not God-centered, then whatever you may do is useless. That's just going to create a Karmabandha. So this Ishavasyam, this God-centered life, is the basis of our Vedic Varnashram Dharma. Otherwise, whatever these isms are there, altruism, communism, this ism, that ism, that is nothing but different flavors of bondage in this material world. And Prabhupada says clearly, whether you become a family man or where you become a nationalist, it doesn't matter. What really matters is what is your consciousness when you do those activities. Make sense? Any question, any sort of a discussion? Do you need further on this?
Prabhuji, but you're saying that when you do activities, we be conscious. That's what we mean to here. Prabhupada says that.
Conscious
But
is God conscious, Krishna conscious. See, being a grahastha, you have to work.
yes.
Huh? So while you're working, you should be clear that for whom you are working. What is the purpose behind this? See, anyhow, I got this body and I have to earn money. So rather than working it for the job satisfaction, you are working for the money which will help you to render your devotional service. So what is the real aim? I have to live in this world. Being a grahastha, I need to take care of my family. I need to earn for that. That is upadan, you know. Upadan means to bring everything for the service of the Lord. And nowadays, to bring everything for the service of the Lord, you need money. And to earn money, you need to work, you know. But work in such a way that that should not become a, again, karmic bond. Main thing.
How do you
Yeah.
How do you avoid that, Prabhuji? How do you avoid that karmic bond? It's just based on consciousness.
Definitely. He says God-centered, you know. Your activity should be God-centered. The purpose behind the activity should be is for the pleasure of the Lord. See, I have to eat. So better to offer it first to the Lord and eat. I can't live without eating. So that eating activity itself either becomes a cause of bondage or it becomes a cause of liberation also. If you offer it to the Lord, that will take away all your karma. So whenever the ultimate result of your job is money, and if you offer it for the Lord's service or to facilitate your devotional service for the Lord, then all things are taken care. Makes sense?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So that concept need to be get cleared, you know. That's why again and again, all these paragraph Prabhupada emphasis on that particular point, the God-centered lifestyle. That means Ishavasya. Everything belongs to the Lord and I have to use everything for the Lord's service. Because he says, Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Whatever material knowledge also you may have, from whom it comes. So let me use the ultimate result of that knowledge for the service of the Lord. If you do in that way, then Prabhupada clearly says here, as Lord explains in the 18th chapter, that even though you are not able to succeed fully in your endeavor, but still will get the chance of having a next human life where you can again perform your prescribed duties. Generally, we say, okay, this is last life, you know. Then you should behave like this is the last life. And if you make a goal that this must be my last life, then automatically, if that is the target, then you will improve yourself. Otherwise, okay, chanting, okay, I'm chanting, you know. But where is that introspection? Where I have come to now? Still, whenever I render service or someone says something, what thoughts that brings in my mind? See, if you realize that Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti Su Charades Characharam, then you will not blame anyone, you know, for any activities. Lord knows better than anyone else in this world, you know. So whatever better for me, whatever is happening, it is under his supervision only. Then why should I blame anyone else? This is what gives a peace of mind, you know. Being a grahastha, if we start pondering upon this particular point every day, then there are no problems in a life. Just accept things as it is. They come in your life. If we try to do something with that, juggle back and forth, then we create again Karmabandha.
So I have no expectations.
Theoretically, but it's very difficult to put it in a practical way. But once you are really strong on that, no, I have to follow, then he gives us your strength, you know, because he himself says, the way you want to reciprocate with him, the same way he responds, you know. So if you accept, okay, my Lord, I know this is what happening. It may be my past karma. If something bad happening, it's my past karma. If something good is happening, oh my Lord, it's your mercy. And I'm accepting wholeheartedly. As you accept your partner throughout life as it is. So why not then every circumstances? Because they are yours. They came along with this body and they will go along with this body. Karmana daiva netrena jantur deha prapadyate. Whatever karma that we have done in the previous life, we are just retelling that, check balance, nothing else. This life is nothing. If you have this kind of understanding, then that helps you to keep up in your Krishna consciousness. I'm telling you just my experience for last few years. If you try to solve yourself, then you create more problem. Like sometimes you go for kiting and you drag that thread together. Then it comes together and messed up. When you try to solve it, then what happens? It gets more entangled. That's why our Lord says that bhidyante or chidyante. Cut them out. And how you can cut them out? With the sword of knowledge. And this is the knowledge actually. If you are fixed in this knowledge, then whatever comes, you will not get disturbed with. As explained in the 6th chapter, that yablabhva chaparam labham namanyade adhikam tatha yasmin sthito api gurunam api na vichalyat. If he gets settled in that particular consciousness, then he never gets disturbed by the big disturbance that comes in his life. Make sense? Actually, we really need to take this thing seriously. If we keep it reading regularly, hearing about this regularly, that helps us to develop or to sharpen this sort of knowledge. And now we are in our 50s only. Another 2, 4, 5 years, or half century has gone of our life. At least theoretically, at least we should have this theoretical understanding. We have to start our second innings with a fresh joy of Krishna consciousness. Okay? So this, like, we have finished
2 verses today.
2 verses today. The first one and the second one. And we'll go for the third one tomorrow.
Okay, Prabhuji.